No, I just had it fixed.
Ow.
Do it again. Do it again. Don't laugh. You're going to make me laugh.
One. Oh, sorry.
Who are you apologizing to?
I'm apologizing to myself. Is that how you want it?
Mm-hmm. Still looks like a shelf.
I'm triggered. Don't say bats.
We'll talk about bats later.
We're back.
Hello.
We have an extra special surprise video that we weren't going to put up, but we decided to do it because we did some...
Spending.
A lot of spending. And we bought some...
Books.
Lots of books. So we're going to share all the books that we bought with you. We sold some books, which is why we were able to buy more books. Mm-hmm. We thought we'd come out with a profit, but we didn't, unfortunately. So that's why we have so many books to share, because... we sold some, and we used all of that to purchase new ones.
Mm-hmm. So now we're in the red.
Maybe. We might have broken even. Who knows?
No, I doubt it.
Yeah. So we decided to get rid of a bunch of books and use that money to then, in turn, purchase new books. Mm-hmm. Many of these books are ones we were looking for or ones that will probably end up on TBRs within the next few months. So we wanted to kind of share those and talk about why we bought them and, you know, mm-hmm. what we're excited about. So we're going to share those books with you today.
Mm-hmm. We also unhauled a lot.
How many would you say?
I'm going to say 60.
Maybe. Yeah, there were 3 bags full of books that we took to Half Price Books and managed to send on their merry way to someone else's nice home.
I think that you said that most of those books are books that we bought last summer.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them were, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and when we talked about why we were going to sell, I am not much of a rereader, so I don't typically pick up a book and reread it again. And so once I'm done with it, it kind of just sits on the bookshelf unless he's going to read it. You are a rereader, correct?
Yeah, I am. But not like I'll read a book and then, let it rest for about 5 or 10 years and then kind of go back to it. Yeah.
Are there any books that you got rid of that you were like, yes, finally it's out of our hair?
I won't say that book. Because I read it and I was like, okay. But usually if it's a book that, because I'll start a book and then by page 50, I don't like my time wasted. So by page 50, if I'm not invested in it, I'll put it down and then come back to it later or like in a month or two. But then when I come back and I'm still in that same place and it's not going anywhere for me, then that's when I'll kind of DNF it and kind of put it in the unhaul box.
Most of mine that I sold were books I had DNF'd or just never picked up. There were 2 that I specifically remember, which were Otessa Moshfegh books, which I had started, and then I wasn't able to kind of connect to the material or the writing, and so I was like, well, he didn't have any interest in necessarily reading them, so I said, I think it's probably time to send them on their way.
But now somebody else has them.
Yeah.
And are loving them.
Well, and the lady at Half Price Books did say to me when we went up to collect our receipt, she said, there's a lot of good books in here and some new releases. And I was like, yeah, we go through books pretty fast, honestly. We read them, and then if we're not going to read them again or we didn't like them, then we typically try to purge so that we have room, because we don't have that many bookshelves and we have more books than we have bookshelves.
I mean, we have a pretty big bookshelf.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does it take for you to kind of DNF a book or kind of throw it in the unhaul pile?
Part of me is averse to DNFing a book because I like to finish what I start, typically. So I'm usually going to persevere even if I don't love a book 50, 100 pages in. Mm-hmm. But if I'm halfway through the book and I really just don't care, or I'm not connecting with it, or I find it a chore to read, then I'll DNF it for sure.
Yeah, I'm not getting any younger, so I'll just,
Yeah.
If there's one thing, or if there's one thing that I just don't, I'm like, why would a character do that? Or, if they're put in kind of a situation where it's like, nobody would ever do that, or that seems stupid, then, I'm done.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
For me, it kind of happens pretty quickly. But I'll give it a shot, but after a while, I'm just like, no, thank you.
Yeah. So our sold book piles were either DNFs or books that we probably aren't going to read again. So I didn't feel bad getting rid of any of those.
Yeah.
Because somebody else will get a chance to read them. And we then in turn spent almost all of that money that we got for those books on new books from half price, and then we went to a couple other bookstores the other day and got some new releases as well. So many of these books you'll see kind of repeated in our upcoming TBRs or ones we've already started. So we're kind of excited to get to all of these. These are ones that we've wanted to read that when we finish, they may join the other books in our bookshelves, or they may join the bookshelves at half price books because, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to go one at a time, back and forth. We'll kind of show you what we got and kind of explain why we were so excited to buy them, and then give you a kind of a peek into our purchasing habits, at least. So, yeah. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
So last video I talked about Chelsea G. Summers' A Certain Hunger, and I finished that a few days ago and completely loved it, and kind of went on a deep dive in her work and in interviews, and she kind of the first few books I got from her list of books that she loved and kind of inspired A Certain Hunger. So this first book I read when it first was popular. I got a copy of it. I didn't really understand it too much because I think I was a little bit too young to kind of absorb that. But it's American Psycho. So A Certain Hunger is being described as a feminist, an American Psycho. So I just wanted to go back and see why people are saying that, because I did not get that from her book. I think A Certain Hunger is a much better book than this. I think it's more grounded in kind of a reality than this book is. Both are satires, but I just wanted to go back and just double check. And plus, I really liked that cover. A lot of these books that I got, I was kind of obsessed with the covers too.
I also want to point out too that on the back, when we found it, there is it's from a bookstore called Gertrude and Alice. In Bondi Beach. So this came from Australia. This version of this book came from Australia at a bookstore called the Gertrude and Alice Cafe Bookstore, which they have an email address, so I want to find out more about them, but it is an Australian.
Hopefully it's still there.
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting because it was like Gertrude Stein and Alice B. Toklas, and it's American Psycho. It came from Australia. The weird connection to that, too, is I told you I just watched that video from Just Angus, which I'll link below in the description, where he reads it and then redesigns the cover, and I loved his redesigned cover. So
for American Psycho.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool. I'll link that video in below because he's amazing. So, yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. My first book is Because of You by Dawn French. If you don't know who Dawn French is, what are you doing? Finish this video and then go watch Vicar of Dibley, go watch the French and Saunders show. Like, Dawn French is an amazing British comedian. Did not know she was a novelist, and then I saw this book, and I was like, I need to read that because I love her. And this is actually longlisted for the Women's Prize. So this is not my style. This is not a book that would normally fit into my genre. That's on this one. But I read the description and I saw the book and I love her, so I was like, I'm going to read it. And it is about two couples who have a baby, who are pregnant, and then one leaves the hospital with the baby and one leaves without a baby, and then something happens in the future. So it does sound kind of thrillery, so I thought maybe this would be pretty interesting for me. So yeah, Dawn French, Because of You. That's my next one. My first one.
Back to Chelsea G. Summers. She talked a lot about this next book and how this book kind of influenced A Certain Hunger and how this writer's work kind of influenced her own work. And that is Angela Carter and her book, The Bloody Chamber. It's an erotic, gory collection of fairy tales that we all kind of know and kind of grew up with, but they're kind of turned on their heads, which I find extremely delightful. But it's gory, it's sexy. Angela Carter's writing is it's perfect. So yeah, so I'm actually almost finished with that. I only got about that much left to read. But these stories are great, and
the short stories, right?
Short stories. Yeah.
Yeah. The cover art is amazing and beautiful.
Yeah. I wish it was more in color, because I
Yeah.
don't think you can see that very much, but
Well, the more you've talked about it, the more I'm like, now I think I need to read it.
I think it's really good. It's not a book that you want to devour in a night, because that's what I tried to do, and I think you need to kind of relish each stories, because I don't know, she's a powerful writer, and the prose is it's fantastic.
So like gothic, bloody, gory, sexy, sensual fairy tales, basically.
Yeah, and there's one of like Beauty and the Beast that's really nice.
Okay. Well, now I think when he's done, I'm probably
there's a Beauty and the Beast one, and then there's not an Alice in Wonderland. There's a Little Red Riding Hood that is coming up that I haven't got to. But I think it was there was a film version in 1984. I think it was Neil Jordan's Company of Wolves. If anybody is a horror fan, go seek that out. I remember seeing that at a very young age, and I should not have been watching that.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You're up.
All right, my next choice is one that if you've been on Gay Bookstagram at all, you've probably seen all over the last month at least, maybe last 2 months, and that is Bathhouse by P.J. Vernon. We talked about Yes Daddy a couple videos ago, and everyone I've talked to has said that this is a better version of that, or it does what that book is trying to do, at least in the first half, and is successful with it. So it is a thriller. It even says so right here on the cover, a thriller. I can tell you that the first scene, because I've already started it, takes place in a bathhouse, and then something terrible happens to one of the characters, and then it kind of spirals from there. So the cover's great. The actual book itself is pink.
Nice.
So you can't go wrong. I love a pink cover. I love a pink book. And it is sexy. It is thrilling. There's some intrigue and mystery. It's about a gay couple who've been together for a long time, and then some things start to unravel. So I'm excited to read this. So Bathhouse by P.J. Vernon.
Okay.
You're up.
So I had a little bit of a plan when we went out of what books I wanted to get. I wanted to get those specific books that I mentioned earlier, but then after a while, I just kind of go for kind of covers, which I don't necessarily do that much, but I saw this one, and I was like, I saw a creepy farmhouse and some birds or bats or whatever, and but that is The Dancing Girls by M.M. Chouinard. Yeah, I don't know why I got this book because of the cover, but I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know that it was a series. I forgot to look at that, but there's a few murders in a town, a detective trying to find the killer. It's just
I think it's British
typical.
Too, right? Isn't it?
Is it?
I think it's set in England.
Really?
I think.
It's not.
Maybe
I'm
wrong,
that's not a bad thing, but
yeah.
Okay. I'll get to it. Probably October. I'll probably wait and do that.
Well, it's funny because you do tend to like detective novels more, and I will avoid at all costs a thriller that is about a detective, because for some reason, I don't know what it is. I just don't like...
What was the last detective book that you read?
Broken Monsters by Lauren Bukes.
But I thought you liked that.
I did like that one because it's not your typical detective novel. I don't love when we follow detectives. I like when we follow protagonists that are not detectives. So I can't really explain why that is. I just don't love detective novels usually. So I don't know what it is.
I think it's not. I don't have a problem with series, but it's just it's a big commitment, and I don't have that kind of time.
Especially if you get invested, then it's like then you have to continue it and go over and over and over again. You know?
Yeah.
Okay. My next one is actually another short story collection. If you know who Josh Malerman is, he wrote Bird Box. If you've seen Bird Box, I've actually never read Bird Box or the sequel Mallory. I heard about this book on Gabby Reads' channel. We love Gabby in this house. And she talked about this book, so I was like, well, that's interesting, let me look at it, because I loved the cover. The cover is so evocative of like 80s horror films. And so when I read about it, it's a short story collection, it's actually novellas, it's 6 novellas, but they're all set in this one town, so they're all connected in a small way. There's a prologue and an epilogue that kind of link all the stories together, but the stories themselves focus on individual people that just happen to live in this town. So I was super excited to get this and found it, and I was like, I'm in, I'm going to buy it. And I thought he would like it too.
That's also my nickname that he gives me.
Goblin.
Goblin.
Yep. Goblin. He's a little goblin. The cover is amazing. The art is amazing. I can't wait to read it. There's a bookmark because I kind of started one already, but I haven't got into it any further. I think this will probably go into my August TBR, if I'm completely honest. So, Goblin, Josh Malerman, I'm excited for this one too.
Mm-hmm. This is another one I just picked up because I saw the cover and I thought it was really interesting, and that is A.M. Holmes' The Safety of Objects. It's another short story collection that kind of all weave through together.
Wasn't it made into a film?
It was. Oh, right here.
Okay.
Made into a film. Glenn Close, Patricia Clarkson, and
Kristen Stewart.
Our favorite, Kristen Stewart. Twilight. Yeah, so that's why I got it, and I saw that cover and I'm like, that's very interesting. I like very minimalistic covers, and that made me want to grab.
Well, and there's a theme too, because that was published in the 90s. American Psycho published in the 90s. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So there's that.
There's also a theme too, because he has the paperback book haul and I have the hardback book haul. So all of mine were hardbacks, all of his were paperbacks.
Yeah, so. I like to crinkle them up.
Yeah.
And use them. I think books should be used.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Speaking of the 90s.
Here we go.
This is a book for both of us. If you saw our TBR video, you knew we were reading this. We finally got a copy of it. Survive the Night, Riley Sager. I'm going to give you a little bit of a sneak preview.
We finished it.
We both finished it already. Literally within 48 hours of buying it, we had both read it. So,
and we have various opinions about it.
The funny thing is, I finished it, and then that same night, he stayed up. We were in bed, and he stayed up late, and he was reading it, and I fell asleep because I was like, just put it down and finish it in the morning, and then we can talk about it. So I woke up the next morning way earlier than he did, and was just like chomping at the bit for him to wake up. I was like, wake up, wake up, wake up. I want to talk to you about it. And he woke up, and we laid in bed, and we just talked about it for like an hour. So I can't wait to discuss this in our wrap up for July. So
one of us really, really liked it, and one of us
is still on the fence. is decompressing on it a little bit. So yeah, if you haven't picked it up or any of his other books, well worth it. They're fast reads. If you're into the literary fiction side of things, it's not going to be your style. But if you're into thrillers and fast-paced moving books, this is perfect. So Survive the Night, Riley Sager.
My next book, one of my close friends from childhood recommended this book to me. So that was on, I don't know where you keep your list of books to read or to get, but I have one on my phone. And so this was at the top of the list, and this was The Vegetarian by Han Kang. He told me to read it. It was disturbing, gory, unsettling. He said, this is right up your alley, so hurry up and get it. So I saw it at the store, and I was like, well, I have to get it now. So yeah, that's what I got.
It sounds very gory and like more your speed than mine. So you'll have to tell me how it is.
We'll see. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. So I think that's going to be the next one after the next few books that I have on deck. So yeah.
Awesome. The next one we got is also because of Gabby Reads. She's been talking about Jennifer McMahon a lot, and we actually have two of her other books that neither one of us have read yet. We have The Drowning Kind and The Invisible, and we saw this at Half Price Books, and I said, we need to get this one. People have been talking about it. As of filming, it is still Summerween, which is a readathon that Gabby and Olivia Reads a Latte do. So if you are engaging in Summerween, you've probably seen this book because people are reading it and it's on Gabby's list. And I thought, why not get it? If she likes it, typically we like it. So I thought we'd pick it up. Don't know what it's about at all, but it takes place in Vermont. And someone was found dead in 1908. And there's been rumors going on, and there's something that's happening in this small town. So, and it says some secrets never die. So I'm excited. The Winter People, Jennifer McMahon.
Nice. Okay, so for my next book, this is a book that I have purchased about 3 or 4 times since its release. I was gifted this book the first time around, didn't get a chance to read it, and I think I sold it. And then I bought it again because I thought, I may be in the mood to read it. And then I didn't read it, and then I think I gave it away to someone. So I think this is either my 3rd or 4th time of buying this book, but that is Katherine Dunn's Geek love. There's a bit of a glare there. That glare is following the book.
Like
there we go. So, yeah, this is the third or fourth time that I've purchased this book, and I've kind of made it a point to actually read it and finish it, hopefully in August. But it is about a family that travels in the carnival. It seems triggering. A lot of weird and interesting and fun stuff. I don't know. I really don't know a lot about it, but I just know when I saw it, I was like, I think I have to get it now and actually dedicate some time to finishing it, because the people that talked about it to me or spoke about it to me said you should probably read this because we think that this is right up your alley. So I finally bought it, and you're gonna have to tell me to read it, because you're gonna have to encourage me to read it, because this will kind of fall by the wayside, and I will put new books before it. So this is like my middle child. Really.
Well, the funny thing is we have a TBR bookshelf that's above our big bookshelf, and we've run out of room on the big bookshelf, so we've started putting books that are not on our TBRs on our TBR bookshelf, so it's kind of starting to become a problem.
I always forget about those too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Ugh. Okay.
Yeah. All right, I have two more, so I'll just do two in a row.
Yeah, I wasn't greedy. I got just enough.
Well, we found both of these next two at Half Price Books, and they were Book of the Month choices that had come in previous months, and so I've been looking for them, but they were essentially new releases for half the price, which was great. So the first one was The Hunting Wives by Cobb, which is another thriller. It's about a group of women. I don't remember where they are, but somebody moves from Chicago to Texas, and she meets this group of women, and things start to happen in this group of women. So the cover is great. Bullets and lipstick. Can't go wrong. I love female protagonists in a thriller, so I'm excited about this one. Cobb is also blurbed on the back of the Riley Sager book, Survive the Night. So I think we both wanted to read this, right? You wanted to read this?
Probably because we were watching The Real Housewives of Dallas, I kind of get those kind of vibes.
Yeah. So I'm excited for The Hunting Wives. So
yeah.
And my last one is a book that we actually have the audio for, and you started, right? Briefly?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you aren't familiar with Libro, you should be. I'll put a referral code down in the description box, but I feel lucky that we are able to get the advanced listening copies of a lot of books from them. And The Madiens, Alex Michaelides, is one of them. You saw The Silent Patient on my best of 2021 so far. Mm-hmm. And this is his new one, and I am super excited. Dark Academia. It's about a professor at I think Oxford or Cambridge, and his students, and then people start to die. The other thing that sold me on this book is not really related to the book, but Michaelides posted a playlist on his Instagram, and two of the songs are Kate Bush songs, and one song is a Tori Amos song. And we are Kate Bush and Tori Amos fans in this house, so I was like, okay, you're going to throw those on the playlist. I'm going to read this freaking book. So I'm excited about this one. And we have the audio, so I can listen and read at the same time, which is kind of nice. I can listen to the audiobook while I'm on the treadmill, read when I'm not. So this is probably going to go on my TBR for next month as well. So, yeah. So this is a lot of books, right? Like, we bought a lot.
Yeah.
Like an absolute lot.
I don't know how we're going to get through all of these books, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, they keep stacking up, right? Like, that's a problem that we keep running into, is that we finish books and then we keep adding like double the amount that we finish to the list. I'm
sure you understand, right?
Well, and I think what will help is that we actually are, we're both pretty much done with our July TBR, and it is as of filming July 9th. So we have a lot more months to go, and now a lot more books to read. So we have a new video coming up for you, hopefully in the next few days after this one goes up, which will be, we're going to do a July TBR addendum, because we're so proud of ourselves for finishing our July TBR really early. So we're going to add new books to our July TBR, which we'll announce in that video. You may have seen some of them in this video, you may not have. So come back next time to see our July TBR addendum video.
So that July wrap-up may be 2 parts.
Yeah, we may have to do 2 parts of that one. We may do a July wrap-up early, since we finished part of our TBR earlier, and then we'll do a
mid-year wrap-up.
Yeah, and we'll do a second one.
Or a mid-month wrap-up.
Yeah. So that is our book haul for July. We probably are going to be buying more books in July, if we're honest.
True.
Yeah. But before we kind of wrap up the video, we did want to say a big thank you because we've had a pretty big uptick in subscribers recently, and I think that is due to we had a few shout outs both on Instagram and on YouTube, and Shawn the Book Maniac actually did a really lovely shout out to us in his most recent video, which we'll link below. And we just wanted to say thank you to him for doing that. We're very grateful. Hello. It's nice to meet you even through video form. And some of the subscribers that have come and commented and talked to us came from his video specifically. So we wanted to welcome them to the family. We're super excited that you're here and that you're joining us. And we hope that we can continue to kind of offer you new content and new books to read. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
People have already been posting their books, and already my list is growing more.
I wish you could see his notes app, because every time someone comments on a book or something that he hasn't heard of or that he hasn't read, he's adding it.
It goes on the list.
Immediately. Yeah. Our wish lists grow on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I think my next round will probably be recommendations, and I'll go and get those.
Yeah. We might be actually reaching out to some of our subscribers too and getting recommendations, and then maybe even in video form, and trying to include those in one of our recommendation videos that we do, because we'd love for you to be part of our channel and share with our other subscribers kind of books that you're interested in as well. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't yet, like the video, comment below. Have you bought any books recently? Tell us what you've purchased. As we've already said, it's just going to go on a list. So tell us that, and then subscribe. And share the videos, social media, talk to your families, your friends, let them know kind of who we are, and we hope that you have enjoyed this video. So we are Shelf Possessed. I'm Craig.
And I'm David.
And thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you very soon. Bye.